Welcome to Ancestral Life. Today we take a look at the life and contributions of Anton Wilhelm Amo. I'm Dr. J. David Taylor. Let's get started. Well, Anton Wilhelm Amo's life reflects four transformative realities. One, black genius is not a myth, it is a tradition. Two, education is liberation, but only when it is rooted in identity. Three, blacks have always been more than others imagined. And four, before blacks were called slaves, they were scholars. Now, Anton Wilhelm Amo stands as a monument of pre-colonial black genius. In an age where Africans were seen as property, he proved to the world that black intellect was not only equal, it was extraordinary. Now, Amo was born in present-day Ghana, the part of the Akan-speaking region, and brought to Germany as a child, enslaved in the service of Duke August Wilhelm. Now, rather than being broken, Amo was educated, liberated, and eventually earned a doctorate of philosophy from the University of Wittenberg in 1734. Now, he became a professor of logic and metaphysics, lecturing across Germany on complex Enlightenment concepts, while simultaneously challenging the foundation of racism in philosophy. Now, his dissertation on the impulsivity of the human mind directly contested Descartes' separation of mind and body, now offering a more embodied African-informed view of consciousness. Now, Amo used education not to become a European, but to challenge European thought as an African. His life shows us that education is only truly liberating when it doesn't erase who you are. All right? Now, Amo wrote in Latin and German, but never abandoned his Akan roots. Now, after facing racism, political instability, and academic exclusion, he returned to Ghana in his final years, seeking reconnection to his people and peace in his homeland. He understood that the mind is not free if the soul is denied. Wow. Amo's presence in the academic halls of Europe was a disruption. His very existence proved that Africans could not be written off as inferior, even by the enlightened elite. But his life also warns us that Western institutions are not always built to affirm blacks. Why does this matter today? Well, Amo's life is not just about intellect. It's about identity, resistance, and dignity. He showed us that when others write us off, we write ourselves back in. But we do it with style, with spirit, and with scholarship. See, in a world where Africans were seen as subhumans, Amo stood in lecture halls and taught Europe about reason, logic, and human dignity. And though racism, as we said, eventually pushed him out of the academy, he never renounced his worth. He carried his pride home to Africa. Ooh. His philosophical resistance was quiet, but seismic. While they theorized about the rational man, Amo stood in the room, a black man embodying it, complicating it, and redefining it. Wow. And while Europe debated whether Africans had souls, one African stood in their universities teaching Europe how to think. That was Amo. See, he was black, he was African, and he was brilliant before it was ever imagined blacks could be. And when Africans were defined as beasts, Amo wrote philosophy so sharp it cut through centuries of ignorance. My goodness, Amo was not a token. By no means, ladies and gentlemen. He was a testament. So today, we still fight the lie that blacks' minds are less, that their worth is in their struggle, not in their intellect, that they have not been built for logic, for law, or for leadership. Blacks have been told, even today, stay in your place. Your history starts with change. Your value must be proven. But Anton Wilhelm Amo is the contradiction that couldn't be ignored. And for us today, he is the truth that we must now embrace. Amo didn't just learn in Europe, he taught there. He didn't just attend, he excelled. He showed up with an African mind and refused to be remade. His philosophy challenged Descartes. His presence disrupted racism. His mind was not a miracle. It was the result of legacy, legacy of the Akan, legacy of pre-colonial knowledge, legacy of the genius that tried to be erased. He reminds us that blacks are not late to greatness. They were born from it. Lessons from Amo's life today's world include that in 1734, he had earned his doctorate at a time when Africans in Europe were still enslaved. And also Amo mastered various languages. He was fluent in German, fluent in Latin, and in his native Akan tongue. See, Amo's legacy reminds us that the black intellectual excellence has a deep historical root. His story challenges us to recognize that our capacity for brilliance is not new, it's ancestral. And by reclaiming figures like Amo, we reclaim a fuller understanding of our intellectual heritage and our potential. So what will we do with Amo's legacy? Will we study harder, knowing that we are heirs to genius? Will we fight erasure with excellence? Will we carry both degrees and dignity, never trading one for the other? Well, Amo returned home, not because he failed Europe, but because he remembered Africa. So let us remember too. Remember that our roots are deeper than colonial maps. Remember that our minds are holy. Remember that we are not what anybody made. We are what God Almighty and history has formed. So here is your call. Don't just learn. Liberate yourself through learning. Don't just read history, reclaim it. Don't just survive the system, subvert it. Let your mind be your rebellion. Let your roots be your revolution. Let the life and contributions of Anton Wilhelm Amo be your reminder that before the change, we were champions of thought. Before others called us slaves, we were scholars. Now is the time to think like it. Now is the time to live like it. And now is the time to lead like it. Well, our time is up. Thank you for joining us today on Ancestral Light, where we took a look at the life and contributions of Anton Wilhelm Amo. I'm Dr. J. David Taylor. I will see you next